Let us now continue with the next technique, that is alignment principle. When do we apply this particular technique? We apply this if there are two equally strong candidate answers, but in some cases, even the four candidate answers are equally strong. You would say, or you would probably think that all of the choices are correct. So if you are in such a situation, the best thing to do is to apply the alignment principle. How do we do that? So simply aligning the question and the choices. So actually, this is going into the structural analysis of the question, the stem, and the choices. So, if the question is general, the answer should also be general. If the question is specific, the answer also is specific. If the question is positive, answer positive. The question is negative, answer negative, and so on and so forth. The list is enumerable depending on the key on the question. So you just have to align the key in the question with your answer or your choice. Okay, let us consider this particular example. In polygraph test, what is this emotional fear present on a lying subject in which the examiner is interested? So let us first highlight the keywords. And we have emotion of fear. So emotional fear, that is accordingly coming from a lying subject. Now, going into some other techniques that we learned. So the subject is polygraph. So let us consider the choices if they are being used in the subject. So this is application of the previous principle that we learned, that is known as familiarity principle. So as I have said, this familiarity principle is very basic if you are dealing with a question that is more or less objective. Okay, let us consider letter A. Do we encounter derivated factor in polygraph? The answer is no. In fact, there is no such word as derivated. There is what we call as derivative, but not derivated. What about fear factor? The term also is not found in the subject, but is therefore wrong. Well, there is a TV series, but not in polygraph subject. So we have letter C, fear of exposure, and nervousness. These are terms being used in polygraph. So we have two candidate answers, C and D. Now, applying the alignment principle. Remember, in polygraph examination, when we say subject, we could be referring to the guilty subject, or we could be referring to an innocent subject. So we have a lot of other terms to use. Instead of guilty, we could say deceptive, or we could say lying subject. In the case of innocent, we could use instead of that word truthful or honest subject. So, going back to the question, accordingly, the emotion of fear, what is that emotion of fear? And now, what particular subject? Are we talking of a specific subject or simply a subject? In here, pag ang tanong ay subject lang, therefore, it refers to guilty or innocent subject. So therefore, yan ay general. That is if what is being used there in the question is only the term subject. But I want you to focus your attention in that modifying word lying. So in other words, we are not only talking of a subject in general, we are talking of a specific subject that is a lying subject. So therefore, the question is specific. So based on the alignment principle, if you are having a specific question, then the answer should be specific also. So, going back to the candidate answers, C and D, which of the two is said to be a specific fear? When we say nervousness, that is the fear in general. So, even if a person has not yet been subjected to polygraph examination, somehow the person may feel certain fear. For example, even that fear that possibly the machine will not work and will cause false positive or false interpretation or whatever situation causing fear on the person. All of us feel certain fears. So therefore, nervousness is a general concept of fear. So therefore, this choice is general. Therefore, wrong. Our answer is fear of exposure. The other term being used in some books is fear of detection. So that is the very fear that should be present on a lying subject.